You know the feeling when someone you know starts watching or reading something that you recommended them? It's an amazing feeling, but it doesn't happen very often. Or what do I know? Maybe you have friends who, when you recommend them stuff, they just go watch it immediately. But for many of us, often to get people to watch something or to read something, it can take a little while. And it's the same thing with ourselves. Like, how often do you sit down and read or watch something that your friend has recommended to you? Maybe you always do it, but I think for a lot of us that there's a lot of stuff that people have recommended to us, but we just haven't gotten around to it. Anyway, this video does not have much plot, I guess. I just thought about this subject and so I wanna talk about it. I'm not going to really give advice on how you can get someone to watch something. It's more that I'm going to have a discussion on examples from my own life when people have been convinced to watch something that I have seen, and when I have been convinced to watch or read something that others have told me about. Now, for me personally, I have a hard time just watching something just because someone say you should watch this. Usually I need to get some more encouragement. But I am also going to give some examples of when I was turned off from reading or watching something. And we can start with the Harry Potter books. Now, as a kid, I enjoyed the Harry Potter movies fine, but I never read the books. We had all the books at home, and I just never read them. And what really turned me off from reading them was because the Potterheads around me treated it as you were basically a lower class citizen if you didn't read the books. It was always this behavior of, oh, you haven't read the books? Oh, you haven't read the books. Everyone has read the books. Why haven't you read the books? You should read the books. And that kind of behavior just made me not want to read it out of spite. Especially because at the time, I was really obsessed with a series of unfortunate events. And I do not live in an English-speaking country, and a series of unfortunate events, while the books have been translated over here, they are really not that popular. I remember when the Netflix series came out, I thought that maybe it had gained some popularity and they started to sell the books in the bookstore again. So I went to the bookstore and asked, hey, do you have the series of unfortunate events books? And the bookseller told me, no, they are too old, so we don't have them. And behind her was a shelf of Harry Potter books, which came out before a series of unfortunate events. Lady, you could have just told me that the books weren't so popular. And yeah, there was another distaste for the Harry Potter books, that the fact that stationery can still be sold even though they are older than a series of unfortunate events books, but a series of unfortunate events will get no sort of shelf at all. Now I have all the A Series of Unfortunate Events books in both Swedish and in English, but I had to buy them on second hand because no bookstore wanted to sell them over here. Because they were quote unquote too old, but everyone knows it was because they weren't popular enough. Anyway, what I am getting to this is that when my Potterhead friends were going around treating me like a second-class citizen because I haven't read the books, I treated them the same with A Series of Unfortunate Events books. Because funnily enough, even though no one has read the books apparently, everyone loved the 2004 movie. Everyone was like, yeah, that movie is so good, but the Netflix series, the one that actually is closer to the books, that one is so bad because it's not the 2004 movie. Which is so ironic when you know that most Harry Potter fans complain a lot about those movies, so okay. But basically I went around doing reverse psychology on them, being like, okay, but you haven't read A Series of Unfortunate Events. How can you not have read A Series of Unfortunate Events? You need to read A Series of Unfortunate Events. And did this convince my friends to read A Series of Unfortunate Events? No. And it did not convince me to read Harry Potter. I still love A Serious Unfortunate Events, and I really wish that someone in my own country also could love it, so I could have someone to talk to about this and also talk about the funny translations they did in the books. And by high school I have met some people that had watched the Netflix show, and that was good enough for me, but I still think that A Series of Unfortunate Events is pretty underrated, and I wish it was more popular here in Europe than it currently is, because I love discussing it with the American and English-speaking part of the world, but I wish that more people outside also could talk about it. I still love A Series of Unfortunate Events, and I wish that everyone could watch the Netflix show and read the books. Not too sure if you should watch the movie, because according to me, the movie is it's not Violet, Klaus and Sunny we're following. We're following Lilac, Nick and Solitude. If you get the reference, you get the reference. But it's also one of those things where I can't really convince anyone to read it or see it, no matter how hard I try. It is also that the book series and the TV show is very clear that you should look away and absolutely not watch and absolutely not read. So maybe you should use that reverse psychology. Don't read this, don't watch this. However, there has been other shows especially that I have convinced people of watching without me even intending to. For example, if you are in my Swedish part of my community, there was a time in my life where I was super obsessed with a Swedish middle school series called Eva and Adam, which was about a middle school couple named Eva and Adam. And the thing is, this basically only exists in Sweden. It has been translated to like German and Norwegian and I guess like Icelandic, Finnish and stuff. Like I think it's been translated to all the Nordic languages and German, but not really more than that. And so I knew that the audience for this is pretty slim, and I knew that there wouldn't be so much point to recommend anyone to watch it or read the books, because like there's a small audience. But here's the thing, most people in Sweden have watched the TV show Eva and Adam, but not as many has read the books and the comic books that the TV show was based on. And I reread some books and I reread some comic strips, and I noticed a lot of really funny stuff in those. So I was like, oh my god, has no one read Eva and Adam in a while? Did you know that they had this in the book? Did you know that they used these words in this book? Like, why? Maybe we should talk about something more than just the TV show. And I kind of made that my whole personality for a while, that I went around like taking pictures of the comic strips and being like, oh my god, do you see this, guys? Do you see this? While simultaneously also watching the TV show, because the TV show still is really good. And all of a sudden I got a message from a friend being like, god damn it, you have convinced me to watch Eva and Adam, you're welcome. And that was like not at all my intention. I didn't intend for anyone to get convinced to watch it or read it, but I was just like, you know, I just wanted to talk about it, and I did, and apparently I was so passionate about it that I convinced other people to watch it. And that is the thing too. When you talk about something so passionately without like trying to convince people to watch it, you sometimes unintentionally get them to watch it. But sometimes someone has just said to me, hey, I recommend this show, and I have just watched it on the go. That has not happened often, but for example, back when I first saw Rose of Versailles and just finished it, my friend said, I think you would like this show by the same author, which was Unisa Mae. So I watched Unisa Mae basically immediately, and I fucking loved it. I love Unisa Mae so much, it's probably my favorite anime ever. And I didn't need any sort of convincing to watch it whatsoever. It was just someone mentioning that it existed, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Then there is a special case, which is the DCLA shows. Now, you know how obsessed I am with the DCLA shows, but how did it all begin? Well, back around 2013, Disney Channel in my country started to advertise the fuck out of a new series called Violetta, and I mean that they made so many commercials basically begging you to check this show out. It was literally like, you need to see this new awesome show. It's so awesome. It's so dramatic. It's full of music and love and friendship. You need to watch it right now. They made such a big deal about this that I almost did not watch it out of spite, because I was like, okay, stop telling me to watch this, I will refuse to watch it. But then I watched it anyway, and I got hooked, and it became my personality for all eternity. Now, here's the thing, you can't recommend these LA shows to anyone, even if you think that someone would enjoy it. Like, I think most people I know would enjoy the shows in one way or another, but it's not shows you can recommend. And it's mostly because they are so fucking long. So to watch it, you need dedication and commitment, and a willingness to know that these shows will change your life, and you can't just watch them and move on. Like, once you watch them, you are stuck forever. It's also that because they are so long, you will forget about stuff that happened in the earlier seasons once you start watching the later seasons. So then they have a rewatchability to them that makes you want to go back to earlier seasons to rewatch it and remember stuff. And because they are so long, there's still stuff, and even though you have rewatched the shows over and over again, there's always gonna be new stuff that you discover on every single rewatch that you have. A reason that I could get through Violetta easily, I think, was because I first saw it airing on TV. So there was several episodes a week, so I had something to look forward to several days a week, and that did not make the show seem so long. It just felt like there was a lot of episodes, and that was fun because I had something to look forward to. But they also put the show on Netflix, so while I was waiting for new episodes to come out in case they had like a break between seasons or something, I could rewatch old episodes on Netflix over and over again. And I never lost interest. You would think that rewatching a show over and over again would make me lose interest, but no. However, I have a different story to Soy Luna. Soy Luna came out after Violetta, and when it came out, I was in this age where I felt like I was too old and cool for Disney Channel, so I didn't really check out any new shows. And I thought that Soy Luna looked childish, and in retrospect, Violetta also looks really childish in the promotion. They promote these shows as if they were for preschoolers. But if you watch the shows, you know for a fact that they are definitely not for little kids. They are in fact for preteens and older. My country also was so bad at advertising Soy Luna, because with Violetta they marketed to death. Like, they had sneak peeks of the new seasons running in theaters 1 month before it aired on TV. Soy Luna did not get that treatment at all. I don't think I have ever seen it air on TV at all. And still to this day on Disney Channel, Violetta still has reruns. Soy Luna never has any rerun. But there was also another thing that turned me off from ever watching Soy Luna, and that was the fandom. You see, when I started to like join fandoms for real and like getting on Tumblr and stuff, I decided to check what they were writing about Violetta, my old middle school obsession show. How fun. And a big part of what I found with Violetta was people discouraging it and saying that Soy Luna was much better. Many posts that basically went, Soy Luna is a masterpiece and Violetta sucks so much in comparison. Do not watch Violetta, only watch Soy Luna. Soy Luna is the best show ever. And that attitude just made me feel, okay, then I will never watch Soyluna out of spite, because you are acting like this, shitting on my middle school obsession show. It was also so sad seeing people being like, I will never check Violetta out because I have heard from other people that it's bad, but Soyluna is awesome, so I'm going to watch that. There was this like big war between the fandoms that one show was better than the other. And this behavior also made like old Violetta fans start being like, okay, you know what, Soyluna sucks and Violetta is so much better, fuck you. And this just made no one want to watch any show whatsoever. Everyone had just watched one show each and they refused to touch the other show. So what changed? Because you know, if you have seen my channel, that I have watched Soyluna and have loved it, so what made me finally watch it? Well, once the pandemic hit and Disney Plus became a thing, they put the DCLA shows on Disney Plus. And this made especially old Violetta fans come back and rewatch their old shows after years of not being really able to watch it. Because they removed it from Netflix, like pretty much after the show ended on TV. So the Violetta fandom got bigger again, and we started to praise the show and remember old things happening in it and discovering new things that we didn't think about when we were kids. And people started to speak positively about it again. And we also like recruited some new fans from it. People who hadn't seen any show before that decided to watch it. But also we got some Soyluna fans who were like, you know what, I heard that Violetta was bad, but now I'm interested to watch it because you are posting so positively about it and it seems so much fun. So I think I'm gonna check it out. And for a lot of us former Violetta fans, we were a bit stigmatized to watch Soyluna simply because the fandom was pretty aggressive in the past. Like, they were mean to us. It was like they could not talk about Soyluna without shitting on Violetta, and that just made us sad and not wanting to watch Soyluna out of spite. But what finally made me to watch Soyluna was that just like former Soyluna fans started to get interested in Violetta because they saw how positively people talked about it, I saw a post where someone had talked about a scene with the character Ambar, and they talked about how unfairly she had been treated in a scene. For context, it was the scene in season 3 when she had fixed the Dia de los Muertos party and she was super happy and just wanted to enjoy it, and a certain Benicio came and ruined it for her. And I saw this post about how, and where this person just screamed how unfairly Ambar was treated, how much she deserved to enjoy this party, and how much Benicio just ruined it. That I like kind of got passionate myself. I was like, I have no idea who Ambar is, but you're speaking so passionately about her, and you know what? I'm gonna watch the show. So yeah, what eventually got me watching was not anyone trying to convince me to watch it because it was better than Violetta. It was someone being so passionate about a character that I felt passionate myself over reading the post, that I just felt like, alright, I'm going to give this show a try. I think I also was put off of watching Soyluna because I was afraid that what if I start hating Violetta when I watch it? And you know what? That did not at all happen. In fact, I have a whole new appreciation for Violetta after watching Soyluna. And I have just felt like no show is worse than the other at all. They're both extremely cringe and bad in their own way, but they're also both extremely charming and funny in their own way. But I guess the moral of this is, if you want someone to watch a show, don't talk badly about another show. Instead, maybe show how passionate you are about this show. But as I mentioned, you can't just recommend these shows to someone. They have to want to watch it willingly. And the best way to do that is to show out of context something from the show. For me, it was seeing someone be passionate about the characters. I also felt passionate about the characters, so I also started watching the show to see how much more I could be passionate about the character. While I completely unintentionally got someone to watch Violetta because I was so passionate about the whole show. Because you know that I am very passionate about Violetta. I'm passionate about both Violetta and Soy Luna, but I am especially passionate about Violetta. And I think it's because I have that nostalgia to it too. And the show, to be honest, saved my middle school years. And just like previously with my example of Eva and Adam, that I was so passionate about it that someone just got convinced to watch it thanks to me being passionate. Someone else got convinced to watch Violetta because they saw how passionate I was about that. I have also gotten convinced to read books because I saw funny reviews on it. For example, I bought the book Imogen Obviously because I had seen a really fun review on it online, and I just felt like I needed to get this book myself. And I think all of you should read Imogen Obviously. It's the same author that wrote Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda and also Leah on the Offbeats. If you like those books, please check out Imogen Obviously. I fucking love Imogen Obviously. But I have found the best way to get me to watch something is to show me like out of context scenes about it. A reason I started to watch the TV show Glee was because I had found these really funny out of context scenes about it, and I was like, this is hilarious, I need to see this in context. And the reason I started to watch Rise of the Pink Ladies was because I saw a whole out of context compilations with the stuff from that show, and I thought it was hilarious after seeing that out of context compilation. So I decided to go watch it, and now if there's any show I actually do recommend strongly that people watch, it's Rise of the Pink Ladies, especially because it fucking got removed from its streaming service. So if you can find a way to watch it, it's on Sky Showtime in some countries at least, so like watch it on that if you have access to that, or watch it in a less legal way, but anyway, you should watch it, and I think we should not let this show fall into the cracks, especially because the music from the show is so good. So also listen to the music on like some music streaming platform you have. It deserves to get attention. But like, just because I am telling you that you need to check it out, it probably won't convince you to check them out, you know? And everyone also likes different genres, and sometimes I have found that I have enjoyed a show that I really didn't enjoy like the genre of. Sometimes you also watch a show because everyone around you also likes that show, and so you wanna be part of the conversation. For example, basically everyone in my friend group watched Arcane when it came out, and I have never been interested in that kind of genre, but my friends were so passionate about it that I just felt like, okay, you know what, I am going to check it out, and I liked Arcane. Even though it's not a genre that I typically would watch, but I really enjoyed it. And it was the same thing with Stranger Things. Like, I was so uninterested when season 1 came out. Like, I was like, yeah, it's a popular show, but I don't care. But season 2 I was pretty intrigued by, and what had happened in between there was that I had seen It Chapter 1, so I knew that Finn Wolfhard was in Stranger Things, and so I was like, I loved him in this movie, so I am going to watch this TV show that he's also in. And yeah, and that was the case where no one convinced me to watch the show. I just did it on my own because I knew about an actor that I wanted to see in it. And I liked Stranger Things, and I'm excited for the final season, even though I think it takes a bit too long for it to come out. Also, like, super random things can prompt us to watch something. Like, I saw on my friend's Letterboxd that they had liked a movie called Kamikaze Girls, and I saw the cover of it, and I saw the description of the movie, and I thought, this movie sounds hilarious. I want to watch it. And so I watched it and I thought it was hilarious. And to make me watch it required the minimal effort of me just seeing the movie on my friend's Letterboxd. Like, imagine if it was so easy for you to convince your friends to watch a movie because you just reviewed it on your own Letterboxd and they saw it and liked your review of it, so they decided to watch it on their own. Sometimes that happens, but you know, it doesn't always happen. And I guess that's what you can take away from this video. As I mentioned in the beginning, I am just yapping about different examples and I don't really have a conclusion. I was just more thinking about different ways that you can convince someone to watch or read something, ways that I have been convinced to watch or read something, and ways that I have been completely turned off to watch or read something. But I guess my main takeaways from this is basically that if you want someone to watch or read something, first of all, don't talk badly about something that they like to make them convince them to watch this other thing. To say to someone, you should watch this because it's way better than the thing that you currently like, will not make them want to see this new thing. Also, like, don't guilt trip them into watching it either. If you go around saying, why haven't you read or watched this? Everyone has watched this, everyone has read this, and you're kind of missing out and you're kind of a lower class citizens in my eyes because you haven't read or watched this. Yeah, that's not going to convince them. In fact, it will turn them off immediately way more. Maybe you should try to talk about this thing as passionately as you can without, like, directly telling them that they need to watch it. Most of the time I have done this unintentionally, like I haven't had any sort of intention of convincing someone to watch something. Sometimes I'm just very passionate about it and I need to speak about it, and because no one else seems to have watched it, I guess I need to speak to like people who hasn't watched it, and then I need to explain the whole plot to them first so they know the context, and then by coincidence they have become interested in it. And it does kind of suck when you are basically the only one who likes something and it feels like no one you know have seen or liked the same thing, so you have no one to talk to. And that's why it's kind of good to either have a YouTube channel like I have where I just yap about whatever I'm interested in, and so I just get it out of my system. If people are interested, then great. If they aren't interested, then whatever, it's just a YouTube video you can turn off. Or maybe like get a Tumblr blog where you just write about this stuff. And you know, maybe people won't relate, but they will see how passionate you are and maybe they will get interested into seeing it, perhaps. It should be said too that I have watched several like hour-long videos about shows and books and stuff that I have not even watched or read, but it is fun to just get caught up in all of the lore that exists about it. There has also been moments where, especially like when I was younger, when someone could just say that they have gay people in the show, and I was like, oh, they do? Okay, I'm going to check it out. That's not a big requirement for me anymore, because I have watched quite a few shows and movies where they have gay people, but it's not that interesting of a representation, so I don't have much to comment on. Meanwhile, when I was like 15, I was like, oh my god, there's lesbians here. But I mean, maybe that still works for some people, that you say, oh, they have this thing. It's not enough for people to sit down and watch it, even if they do like when a show or movie has that sort of thing. There has also been like weird moments where someone didn't exactly recommend me a show, they just said that I probably would react to a certain way. Because a friend of mine once told me that she thought that if I ever watched the show Daria, that I would ship Daria and Jane together. And I was like, okay, interesting, I have heard of Daria, I have never seen it, but you know what, now that you mention it, let's check it out. And I watched Daria, and I indeed shipped Daria and Jane, she was right. there has also been shows where I got convinced myself to watch it, but I know that I really couldn't recommend it to anyone else. One of those shows was Big Mouth. When Big Mouth came out, I was in the middle of puberty myself, so seeing a show where characters went through puberty, I was like, oh, this sounds interesting actually. Because I had a thing when I was like between the age of 12 and 16 that I loved to like explore stories where people were going through puberty and like coming of age. I loved those kind of stories. And I have always also had an incredibly dirty sense of humor. You may not notice it as much on this channel, and that is because I need to like tone it down a lot of the time. I thought that Big Mouth was hilarious, and I still, even to the final season, thought it was hilarious, but because that's just my sense of humor. But Big Mouth is not a show you can just recommend to someone, because it will make a lot of people uncomfortable, and I am aware of that. I have also been convinced to watch and read stuff because someone had a really bad opinion about it. Like, someone maybe made a video where they talked about a show, but they were super wrong about the show, like they apparently missed several plot points and they didn't at all understand it, so other people who had watched the show react to the video and it's like, this person is wrong. And I was like, I kind of want to see this show now, because apparently there's different views about it and I want to make my own view about the show. But yeah, I think to get convinced to watch or read something, it really depends on like the context and your energy at the moment, because sometimes it's the exact right place to feel like you want to watch a new show or want to read a new book, but other times that same show, movie or book, even though you would have loved it, other times you will get completely turned off to watch or read that very same thing. Sometimes you start watching something because someone say, hey, you should check this out, and you just check it out immediately. Other times you get convinced to watch something because you saw an out of context video about it. So as per usual, I have yapped about this for way too long, so how do you get convinced to watch or read something? And how do you feel like you can convince others to watch or read something? I have a lot of yapping videos, but they're fun and like it's my YouTube channel, so like sometimes I just wanna make videos like this where I just yap for an incredibly amount of time. An incredibly long time, because I just have so much to say once I start yapping, and like I am talking to myself at the moment, so no one can like respond to me, you know. So maybe I have just said a bunch of nonsense for like 40 minutes, but you know what? Maybe it's good background noise when you sit and draw or sit and work on your fanfiction or something. And that's super fine too. But yeah, I don't think I have more to say about this. And thank you for watching or listening or whatever you did while having this video on. Goodbye.